Good day and welcome to the Dispatch, a voice of reason in an increasingly unreasonable world. I'm Tom Gandley. Let's open the Dispatch and see what we've got. In Atlanta, Georgia, 8 people are confirmed dead after a series of armed attacks on Asian massage parlors. One man, Robert Aaron Long, was taken into custody as a suspect after a brief chase on I-75. 3 different parlors were attacked, but it is unsure as to whether the suspect performed all 3 armed crimes or if there were other assailants. All those targeted appear to be Asian women, but no motive is known for the murders, but authorities are going on the premise that the attacks are connected. Good news in the war on COVID-19 in the U.S. New cases continue to decline and reported fatalities have dropped from 3,500 to 4,000 a day at its worst to about 1,000 per day now. It seems inoculations are being rapidly sent out to Americans and safety guidelines seem to be working. All around the globe, fewer are dying or even getting ill from the disease, and the trend is strong. One outlier to all this is Brazil, which has seen a huge uptick to 2,700 dead yesterday, more than double the U.S. numbers. Restrictions on social gatherings here are loosening up, and this week the increase in airline travel for spring break was far in excess of last year. Still, it is wise to exercise caution for a while longer. As many of you have already heard, the extreme crisis on the U.S.-Mexico border has created an unmanageable situation for border agents, American property owners, and local law enforcement. The huge, overbearing numbers of minor children immigrants has led to a shortage of proper housing and safety for the kids, many unaccompanied, some as young as 6 years old. It's gotten so bad that the ordinarily open borders fan President Biden, who only recently refused to describe the situation as a crisis, preferring to call it a challenge, has now openly tried to communicate to those traveling here from the South not to leave their towns or nations and to stay home.
Do you have to say quite clearly, don't come?
Yes, I can say quite clearly, don't come. And what we're in the process of getting set up, don't leave your town or city or community.
In an interview with ABC News, the president pushing back on criticism migrants are crossing in such large numbers because he has reversed several Trump-era immigration policies.
The idea that Joe Biden said come, because I heard the other day that they're coming because they know I'm a nice guy. Well, here's the deal. They're not.
That audio clip is courtesy of ABC News and CNN.com. According to Homeland Security Secretary Alex Mayorkas, the U.S. is setting up to deal with more individuals on the southwest border than we have in 20 years. The porous border, worse now that Biden has defunded the building of the border wall, which added over 400 miles under President Trump, will, in this time of crisis, allow drug cartels to just get stronger in the chaos. And as a result, more drug-related violence can be expected in the U.S. in the months ahead. This all according to the Epoch Times and Jason Jones, a former Texas border enforcement captain. Illegal entry has also allowed for threats from other nations to arrive. Only recently, a confirmed Yemeni terrorist was apprehended at the border. This overwhelming surge in illegal entry attempts from Mexico and elsewhere are a direct result of President Biden's 2020 campaign rhetoric, in which he promised to roll back President Trump's border defenses and make America more welcoming to illegal aliens. In the U.S. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has recently stated that to ensure the common citizens' voices are not silenced by the Democrat majority in both houses, the filibuster must be preserved as a tool used to ensure compromise and the protection of principle are maintained in government. Since coming to power in November 2020, Democrats have regularly threatened to demolish the tactic of speaking on the Senate floor to delay voting on a law if it might be too radical, incomplete, or unconstitutional. The procedure, which only a few years ago was strenuously defended by New York Senator Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin as a method of ensuring the minority voters' voices heard in the Senate, now have hypocritically backtracked on those defenses of free speech and dialogue. This parliamentary method of ensuring cooperation because of pressure from outside groups to violate this constitutional precept that was woven into that document by our founding fathers at the very beginning. Democrats in the Senate, and House too, no doubt, would love to see their agenda forced on the minority voices in the U.S. without any resistance to their growing tyranny. In 2017, Schumer himself stated the filibuster was the purest distinction between the House and Senate, and the preservation of the 60-vote distinction for legislation. Now, Schumer, and almost every other Senate Democrat, wants to walk away from that vigorous defense. Dick Durbin dismissing it as a, quote, offhanded clerical suggestion, unquote. When President Trump suggested that Senate Republicans kill the filibuster, Democrats screamed from the rooftops of how that would violate the constitutional status quo. Now that Biden is in the Oval Office, they want to forget that episode in their careers and do unto others with politically motivated impunity. Making matters worse, this time, is the extremely radical bills the U.S. left wants to ram through the Congress. And lastly, and sadly, one of the fashion industry's long-standing icons has passed away. Many of you have heard the name and maybe even purchased the fragrance she gave her name to. Jessica McClintock is mourned by everyone in the fashion industry. The San Francisco-based designer died peacefully in her sleep and will be returned home to Presque Isle, Maine, to be buried alongside other family members. McClintock's creations combined the ideals of romance and beauty. She designed many prom dresses and wedding gowns in her lengthy career, and her life is an example of how hard work and stick-to-itiveness can lead to international acclaim. She learned the basics of dressmaking from her grandmother, and to that added her own style, becoming the fashion icon she was. Jessica McClintock is survived by her son Scott, and was 90 years old when she passed on. Thank you for listening to The Dispatch. This has been Tom Gandley. Special thanks to Brad Neufeld, station manager and technical advisor. Please tune in again next Wednesday for the next episode of The Dispatch.